Welcome back, everybody. Concerning news for today, looks like Grayscale of Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is being sued, and there's some tough questions to answer. And I really have to take a look at this and say, well, how much Bitcoin do they actually have, and what is this going to affect as far as the overall market? Take a look at that. Plus, Polygon comes out, and they are building in this despicable bear market, as I call Build-A-Bear, and they're actually doubling up. Looks like transactions per second. And then also, we're going to take a look at how there's more calls for crypto as securities. And I got to tell you, it just doesn't make any sense. And lastly, we'll do a quick Q&A, go over all your burning questions, answer the best of my abilities, and we'll do the $250 ETH giveaway thanks to Lady's NFT. So first things first, Grayscale is getting sued. And, not really surprising, a lot of things going on as far as contagion and little issues and here and there. And there's also some questions about solvency and proof of reserves, which Grayscale said they will not be doing. But here's what we got, and this is what's happening. So crypto markets today, Fir Tree Suit hedge fund. They have a suit against Grayscale, adds the woos. This is what we have. Hedge fund Fir Tree is suing crypto investment firm and CoinDesk sister company. Remember, this is all through the DCG, the digital currency group. Grayscale, which also has CoinDesk, which also has Foundry, which is one of the largest Bitcoin mining operations on the planet, to obtain details about its flagship Grayscale Bitcoin Trust in order to investigate potential mismanagement and conflicts of interest. Now, in this article, it doesn't really go through what those conflicts of interest are, or potential mismanagement, but it's interesting of what they want. They want Grayscale, Fir Tree, the hedge fund, to resume redemptions and cut fees for the trust. And I had to ask myself, has Grayscale ever done redemptions? They haven't. And if you take a look here, as far as redemptions and as far as this Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, if you ever invested into the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, you don't own any Bitcoin. It's just paper Bitcoin, essentially. You can never redeem your shares for actual Bitcoin because the Grayscale Trust owns the private keys to the Bitcoin in your shares. So it's an interesting prospect. They're saying you need to start redemptions when they've never done that. So I just found it very interesting of why they would sue them for that. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is selling a gas into the Grayscale Bitcoin Trusts. I don't understand the process because I'm not a huge corporation or entity or institution. And I just don't, I understand that, I can get access to this for quite a big discount. This is the Grayscale Bitcoin discount or premium to NAV. And what we're talking about here is, you can see, let me just read the definition. The discount premium to NAV is a percentage that it calculates the amount that an exchange traded fund, ETF, or closed-end fund is trading above or below its net assets value. And the whole thing was this, the whole prospect of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust was it gave big money, large money, smart money, whatever you want to call it, institutions access to the world of crypto without the hassles and inconvenience of self-custody. They custodied it for you. You were a big institution, you got access to it, or you're a high net worth individual, wipe your hands, everything's good. And you paid a premium for that for almost, let me go back 5 years, 10 years. Oh yeah, don't have the access to that one yet. In 2018, you were paying almost 100%. Moving closer. Let me refresh this. Three years. You can see how it flips over. And now you're actually in the negative as of February 2021. So people would do this, it's a negative value, but what they were hoping for was this magical Bitcoin ETF to come through. And of course they said, yeah, we'll get it as a value and we'll redeem it, even though we know it's just paper and it's negative to the actual value of Bitcoin. But we think a Bitcoin ETF is coming, and we'll just hold on. And we'll hold on, and we'll hold on, and we'll hold on. And now we're at negative 43%. So it's not looking too hot for Grayscale Bitcoin Trust right now, per se. So Fir Tree, the hedge fund, wants to use the information it's seeking to pressure Grayscale to resume redemptions, again, which are not immediately available to investors, and to cut fees from the current 2%. And it goes over some other stuff. And the next question I had was this, is because as far as proof of reserves, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, like, we're not going to do that. Everything is with Coinbase custody. So just look over there. And Coinbase custody is like, well, we're not going to do it either. So we don't really know essentially if that is all proven to be true. But I found it interesting that on top of what Grayscale says it has, and I have no reason to believe it doesn't, but this is a great website called buybitcoinworld.com and treasuries. And you can take a look at just by different categories, who owns how much Bitcoin. Interesting enough, MicroStrategy, which gets a lot of press because of Michael Saylor, doesn't even own 1% of the 21 million of Bitcoin. They have a pretty large amount, 130,000 roughly. Galaxy Digital has 40,000. It's quite a number. Voyager Digital has 12,000. That's not moving anywhere anytime soon because it's locked up in Chapter 11. Marathon 11, Tesla 10,000, still has it. Okay. I'm sure they sold some. Coinbase 9,000, and so on and so forth. And then if we scroll down, China, Ukraine, El Salvador is how much they have. Mount Gox, again, that's not moving anytime soon, as they say, if they're coming back. But here's the big thing. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, 3%. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust states that they have 3% of the total circulating supply or the volume of Bitcoin right now in their trust. So what this lawsuit's going to do, it's going to flesh that out. And they want to see if that's true. They want to resume redemptions, which I don't think that's ever going to happen. And they just have some questions to answer. So it'll be interesting how this all plays out. I don't deal with Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. I don't recommend it. I personally just buy Bitcoin on exchanges, transfer them to my ledger, and off I go. So from there, for me, it's not going to affect anything. But as time goes on, if this proves to be a little bit of a disruptor, especially with the contagion that's going on, we could see some problems. Anyhow, let me just think about that in the comments section. And next up, I find this, on this channel, I try to be a little balanced. I know people will say, Rob, you're very bearish. Well, I'm bearish near and midterm because that's just how I see things. In the long term, I think things will be just fine. And this is a great time for me to invest. And one of those crypto projects that I invest into is Polygon. I still dial the cost average of Polygon. I think it's a pretty good platform. A lot of different projects have been built upon it. And this is just one more thing that's looking good. So Polygon-matic put out a tweet today. How do you make the fast move faster? Answer: the parallel Ethereum virtual machine engine. Researchers at Polygon are excited to announce an innovation of the Polygon proof-of-stake chain that will make it up to twice as fast. And it's already super fast. And a lot of the products that we talk about on our second channel, Dan Degen, have all been built on Polygon because it's super fast and super cheap. So what this comes down to, and you can read the whole article, I linked in the description. Innovating the main chain, a Polygon proof-of-stake study in parallelization. And I'm not going to bore you. And I'm not even going to pretend that I am some tech person, because I am not. I'm just an investor. But what it talks about here is researcher Polygon POS are excited to announce an innovation up to twice as fast, parallel EVM upgrade. And really all it comes down to is this picture. Execution versus parallel execution. When you want to go through the process, as far as minting blocks, it is a sequential manner. Start from here, the block, transaction 1, 2, 3, 4, verified, off you go, the block is processed. And it's kind of like, in this example, they talk about going to the store. First, you have to get into your car, you have to start the engine, put it on the gas, go to the store, park your car, get the groceries, come back in. Everything has to be in a sequential manner. What if you could just skip all that stuff and just go through the different manner of the way that you would do things and get it all done all at once? That's essentially what they're doing, parallel execution. And apparently, I did not know this, but Aptos, looks like I don't think they're working with Aptos, but to address the issue, parallel execution, Aptos Labs developed the Block STM engine, leveraging long-standing research beyond software, transactional memory. Block STM detects and manages dependencies when executing transactions in smart contract concurrently. Dynamic, which means the engine permits validation and revalidation of transactions after execution. All it means to me, things are faster, things are going to work quicker, and hopefully it'll be cheaper. So again, I'm looking towards these different projects that are being built in the bear market. It looks like Polygon is potentially one of those. Anyhow, I will continue to dollar cost average and go from there. What do you think about that in the comments? That's quite interesting. And then lastly, I don't understand this part, honestly. Calls that crypto should all be securities. On this channel, I've talked extensively about regulation. And I'm not talking about, when I talk about regulation, I'm not talking about to shut down wallets and to regulate the crypto and where it should go. What I talk about regulation is, I think we can all agree here, that the centralized exchanges should have a little more regulation. I mean, we know that FTX was regulated in some way, shape, or form, but there was some issue there, and it wasn't being regulated correctly. They weren't looking at commingling of funds. They weren't looking about how things were moving as far as between the two entities, as far as Alameda Research and whatever else. So there's a gap there, and I'm sure if there's a problem created by man, it can be fixed by man. So I think that could be pretty good. Another thing I talk about here is give us some clarity. What's a security? What's a commodity? What's a currency? And to me, like, in all honesty, I don't see how these can be a security. Like, a security is like an equity, is like stock. And I don't know about you, but I've never used my Airbnb stock or my Google stock to use that as a gas fee to transfer other stocks around on Robinhood. It just doesn't happen like that. However, I have bought Ethereum specifically for the purpose to use that in my wallet as a utility to move things around. And that, there's no investment contract in there. I just need it as a utility. I need it to work. So when I hear about this, I'm like, I just don't get how they're going to say that everything is a security. And then they say, well, there is this utility part, which we don't use for traditional securities, but whatever, was bypassed that. But I'm just bringing this to your attention. So here's what we got. So with this one, and there's a good line to this story, so just stick with me. Most cryptos should be regulated as securities, New York Stock Exchange owner talks about. And I just found it interesting that it's from the head of the New York Stock Exchange owner. How convenient. Anyhow, most cryptos will likely be regulated under existing securities laws following crypto exchange FTX's collapse, and traditional players like the New York Stock Exchange may move into tokenized trading. That's the good part. Head of the New York Stock Exchange owner ICE said on Tuesday, he states, look, they're going to be regulated and dealt like securities. What does that mean? It means more transparency. It means segregated client funds. Again, this is regulation for the centralized exchanges. This has nothing to do with segregating client funds from the actual determining it as a security or a crypto, or as a security or a currency or a commodity. The role of the broker as a broker-dealer will be overseeing on the exchanges, will be separated from the brokers. Again, this is about centralized exchanges themselves. This has nothing to do with the regulation of crypto and determining it. The settlement and clearing will be separated from the exchanges. Again, exchanges. The laws already exist, and I think they're just going to be implemented more strongly, he states. And this is the good part. We happen to run a securities exchange. Yes, he does. So I could see us doing tokenized trading. The ICE chief said, referencing the New York Stock Exchange, it's not that different than a stock or an ETF or any other security. True. So I think if you're going to tokenize something, why don't you just say that's a security? The tokenized part is an actual security. And why I get excited about this is because of this. If you take a look at every little one of these squares here is $100 billion. In the stock market, and this is 2020, so it is inflated quite a bit. The total is now it's over $100 trillion. So imagine if you could tokenize a stock, right? Which is the value of a stock that is put upon the blockchain. And you can say, look, if you don't have access to it, we tokenize it. You can do a bunch of different things with it, derivatives and swaps and blah, blah, whatever you want to do and play around with it. That's great. And that's what we're going to do. And that part is the actual security. I could kind of see that. But again, I just don't understand how they talk about, like, we're going to say it's a security even though we use things as a utility. And then to further kind of get this point home, this was Michael Saylor on the PBD podcast, and he talks about what he thinks is a security and why it is. And before everybody blows up at this piece, just know that Saylor's going to he misspoke when he talks about Ripple versus XRP. You know what I'm talking about in a second. So just listen to this and see if you agree. Then we'll do that giveaway. So take a listen.
What are your thoughts about what's going on with Ripple and how he is handling the Ripple case?
Ripple's an unregistered security. It's pretty obvious. There's a company. The company owns a bunch of it. They sell it to the general public, but they never took the company public. There's no disclosures, right? So the SEC's position is you're selling an unregistered security. It's a crypto token, right? Just like Ethereum is an unregistered security. It's controlled by a few people in the Ethereum Foundation and Consensus.
Fair. Then
just
here's
like
a question.
FTT, just like Solana.
Perfect. But here's a follow-up.
They're all unregistered securities.
Here's a follow-up on that. I don't own a single Ripple, just so we know. So full disclaimer, I'm not a Ripple guy. But if both of them are unregistered, why target Ripple and not target Ethereum the way he is targeting Ripple? And by the way, this is coming from a guy that owns Ethereum, not Ripple.
Yeah, I think the best thing for the world would be if the SEC pretty much shut down all of it. It's all unethical, right? I mean, the Bitcoin position would be Bitcoin is an ethical commodity. All of these other altcoins are unregistered securities. They're all just equity tokens issued by a company in order to get around going public, and they're committing securities fraud.
Ethereum included.
Of course, especially Ethereum. You know, Ethereum's got $20 billion of ETH token locked up in the staking contract right now, and there's a couple of people that may or may not give it back to you ever. Now, isn't that the definition of investment contract? If a bank took $20 billion of your assets, froze the window and said, you can't have your money back ever, maybe in the year 2024, we're not sure. We're just going to keep it. We may actually give you interest on it. We may take it all. We may slash it. That's the definition of a security, right?
All right, great. So, I mean, you gotta understand, take it with a grain of salt. Michael Saylor just owns a boatload of Bitcoin, but some of the things he does talk about is actually true. But of course, there is the one thing that we can't let it escape. Yes, Ripple is the great, fantastic. When I take a look at these things and I just see it, I just don't see how there's any way around it. How we can say, okay, we can segregate the crypto, the digital asset, from the actual utility of what it provides. Let's be honest. We all use Ethereum for our MetaMask wallets. We all have to pay these fees, and it is a utility for that. So I just don't see how we can get away with just the SEC saying it's a security and going from there and moving it out. There are nuances, and if people know who I could get on the show to clarify the nuances of what a security, what a commodity, and what a currency is, I'm all ears. I know there's a lawyer, Deaton. He's pretty prominent on Twitter. Love to have him on, and he can kind of break this down, because to me, it just doesn't make much sense. Anyhow, what do you think about that? Do you think we're just going to have commodity as Bitcoin only and then everything else security, or we're going to get around this and go from there? Let me know what you know about that piece. And then lastly, let's give away some Ethereum, huh? Speaking of which, if you want that Ethereum, you better have a little Ethereum so we can send it to you in your wallet if you want to move it around. $250 ETH giveaway. So again, thank you to Ladies NFT. They rang me up. They rang me up like that's not even a thing anymore. They dropped me a DM, and these are from Ladies is also associated with D's Nuts. That's right. One of the great projects that's out there. I love those guys. It's probably the best community you can be a part of. It's just hilarious. And they came to me and said, look, we're going to start to do, we have a play to earn game coming out. We got the metaverse happening. Also, we're going to do the minting of the Ladies NFT this Saturday. You want to do a giveaway? Great. Sure. The people like money. People like free money. So all you got to do is just follow me on Twitter, and then you can follow News Asset, like, comment, retweet, watch the live stream. I'll pick the winner live, which is what we're going to do right now. So let's do that. So I do this every time. Oh no. Okay, that's better. So we're going to take this so no one can accuse me of, Rob, you gave it to your mom or something. All right, load tweet. All right. So let's see. There's only one winner today. You must follow me. You must follow at Ladies NFT. You have a picture and some in your description, because I'm not going to give this to a bot. That makes no sense. The county wants, sure. Let's see if this worked. Continue. Oh, that's a lot. We've got 220. Let's continue. Begin the draw. Bing, bang, boom. Congratulations, 33. Let me show this. I have just followed you. You can now direct message me. Thanks for stopping by. If you like today's video,